sun come out through my door. The waves are so pretty.
Scoot over, I'm getting it.
Intelexx here. Welcome to Lifin with Lex, where we talk about a variety of topics surrounding life, because life be lifin', right? Yes, definitely working out to keep the stress level down, because life be lifin' and people will try you. Okay, but don't worry, because there is one thing that we gotta do. And listen, check the message here. Okay, start each day with a grateful heart. Yeah.
Everybody get in the picture, get in the video. Hey, we out here.
Definitely got to be around the family, but you know, self-care is a must. So you need that isolation because, baby, but most importantly, enjoying life, because you only get one, right? And you know, a part of life is building relationships. Definitely got to have that. And definitely got to stay on point with the learning, because knowledge is power. Okay. And not only that, applying it. Yes, that's right. Putting that knowledge to work and doing the work for the greater good. You heard me? Make sure to tune in and tap in to this episode to see what we gonna talk about today. Well, hello there. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Lifin with Lex. We are in season 3, y'all. We made it to season 3. Thank you so much. Shout out to y'all for always supporting me, for believing in me enough on my vulnerability journey that I'm able to share it with you all. And, you know, it's been a journey, okay? I've shared a lot, all right, stuff that I've never shared before. So I'm definitely opening myself up so that I can be, for you, what I want to see others do for me. All right, so I'm just trying to be an example. And I appreciate y'all for rocking out with me and for just listening to me. You know, I can go on and on, but you know, it's just a way for you to get to know me a little bit better, and a way for me to put myself out there more. Okay, okay, all right. And so today we are going to get into it. All right, so we are going to be talking about work or family, the choices we make. Now, I personally don't believe that there is a perfect balance between family and work life. I think that one takes precedence over the other sometimes, not all the time, but I do think that there has to be some type of balance that works, like organized chaos, you know what I'm saying? So a little bit about me, right? I work pretty much 7 days out the week. If it's not for business stuff, it's my 9 to 5. If it's not that, it's for ministry stuff. You know what I mean? So it's always something that I'm doing when it comes to work. Now, as an unmarried woman, the imbalance does not really matter. You know what I mean? Because there's no one special in my life at this moment. Okay, stay tuned because there will be. But no one right now is like has priority in my life to where I have to carve out time for them. Now I do have a little kitten, all right, she's 2 months old. All right, and so I have to prioritize her needs and her wants, making sure she's fed, making sure she's groomed, making sure that she has her playtime and has some time and attention on my end to let her know that she is loved and wanted and accepted. You know what I mean? And she's a baby, so she needs a lot of that. And so managing my time when it comes to being a fur mother and having work and responsibilities outside of the home, it definitely helps to have an organizer. Definitely. Because if it's not in the schedule, it does not exist. Okay. At least over here. Um, so I definitely write everything down. I have to write it down multiple places. So, the phone in my calendar, the calendar in my phone, the calendar, my actual physical calendar, my scheduler, all these things. I need multiples so that I can function properly because it is easy to miss an appointment or miss a meeting or miss something if I don't write it down because I have a lot going on throughout the day. I might have multiple meetings. Like, for instance, um, earlier this week, I had 5 meetings for work, which were all back to back to back to back to back. And so, if I didn't plug any of those meetings in, they would not have gotten done that day. But because I had all of them in my schedule, all of them on my calendar, I was able to knock them out. Plus, I had to do paperwork. Plus, I had to travel and all the things. You know what I mean? Being a case manager comes with a lot of responsibilities. I'm almost at 70 case. My caseload is almost at 70. So I have a lot of people that I'm responsible for to make sure that they're getting the services that they need. And so multiple meetings happen a day, whether it's in person or over the phone. But either way, that's a lot of responsibility. It takes up a lot of time. You do a lot of OT and don't get paid for it, which is why there is a revolving door when it comes to this field, because a lot of people feel like they're overworked and underpaid, and because of that, they go elsewhere to feel valued. You know what I mean? There's different incentives that could be good for different people. Um, but depending on where you work, it might not be no incentives. It may not be, oh, I have health insurance, oh, I have benefits, I have a 401k, I have this, I have that. That's not the case for everybody in the social work field. So keeping that in mind. But when it comes to me, there are some benefits. Do I wish there were more? Of course, of course. But having to do that, then on top of managing how I want Intelexx to grow, building a team, creating content, doing editing, doing scheduling, doing all of these different things, putting myself out there, going to different networking events, taking time out to the people that's in the art community so that I can show them love, taking time out to like post different content. All of these things take time. Everything takes time, and it's only 24 hours in a day. We all get the same amount, but it's all about time management and organization so that I can have that balance. So, something I like to do, I get up at a certain time every day. Sometimes I might get up earlier or a little later, but it's around the same time every day. I do my devotion, start my day off with prayer, you know what I mean? Because having that foundation is necessary for the life that we live. Um, you know, I need some strength to make it through the day. If I don't got no strength, then how I'm gonna get through the day? And if I don't pray and do my whole devotional routine in the morning, um, it really throws my day off. So that's something that helps to ground me, helps to center me, helps me to focus so that I can be the best me that I can be on the job, in my business, at home, and all the things, right? And then depending on how many meetings I have, I can schedule time around. So I'll spend time with my kitty, Sadie. I will make sure that she's fed, make sure that she drank her water, make sure that she plays around a little bit. We have a little time before I head out. I do my workout, shower, change, go out to my meetings, and when I get back, then that's more time for Sadie once again. But like I said, my schedule would be completely different if there was another person involved. It's just me. So, you know, the balance doesn't really matter right now. Now, if I was in a marriage or if I had children or both, that dynamic would change drastically. Children, you you a mother, speaking as a woman, I would be a mother all the time. I can't just take a break from that. I can't just say, oh, you know what, I'm not doing this today. I'm still going to be a mother at the end of the day. So taking time out to make sure that my children are taken care of, make sure that I'm buying all the things that I need for them, clothes, food, school supplies, all the things. If they're in a certain grade level, studying with them, helping them to learn what they need to know so that they can excel in all that they do. Studying with them, helping them with their homework, taking time out to really cultivate them, spend time with them, taking them out on dates, doing all the things so that they know that they're loved and appreciated. For a husband, spending time with him, making him a priority, making sure that he's fed and he's nourished, that I'm pouring into him, um, falling under his purpose for his life and what he wants to do with his life, and really supporting him in that aspect. Maybe having to put what I have going on the back burner so I can support him and help lift him up, or do it at the same time, which is another level of balance, because that takes a lot to help somebody else fulfill their vision while you're trying to fulfill yours. Some people do it on a low level, but when you're with someone and you believe in them and you've agreed to sign on to what they have going on, it takes a lot to build somebody up who's already building themselves up and like really honing in on their vision. If you have something going on and if you are a wife, you know what I mean, what your husband has going on, you're supposed to help him with, just like he's supposed to help you with what you got going on, but really having that conversation. Now, in different marriages, the wife doesn't necessarily have to work. In some marriages, she does. So it all depends on the dynamic of the relationship. Now, when I get married, we can revisit this conversation. I'll let you know, listen, okay, I don't have to work. So I'm just focusing strictly on Intelexx because that's what I would do. Even if I didn't have a 9 to 5, I would still be working. I would still be focusing on my business, focusing on how I can help my husband. If I did have to work, I would be doing that plus working, but it's all about the balance at the end of the day. And it's all about the choices that we make. So sometimes, work can be a lot. And sometimes I need to step back and be like, listen, I need a day because it's a lot going on. Y'all want a lot from me. Y'all not paying me enough. You're lucky I like what I do, okay? Because I would have left. But that's real. You know what I mean? Every day is not always. Oh, I'm happy to be here. I'm at work and I'm grateful to be in a position to help other people. And although yes, that is true, it is not always a happy time having to go to work, because it can be mentally stressful, emotionally stressful, physically stressful, because you are taking on people's problems. You are the person that's responsible for making sure that they have a good living. That is not something I take lightly, you know what I mean? So being able to be in a position where I can help, I am grateful for that, but it is a lot. And so knowing not to take my work home with me, even if I am at home, not to take it with me is something that's very important, because I'm not trying to stress out and I'm not trying to think about a bunch of different things when I'm trying to debrief from the day. Once I clock out, that's it. If I get a call or if I get a task or something like that needs my attention, my time, I will follow up when I'm clocked back in, because there were times where when I first started in the field, I would be working until 1, 2 in the morning, overtime, y'all. That's like 7 hours of overtime. Not getting paid for any of that, but working to the bone and, burning myself out. And I'm not getting, any type of contribution for that. I had to learn how to maintain my boundaries so that I wasn't putting myself at odds for a job that I can be replaced at. You know what I mean? Granted, the people are great. I'm there to help the people, but at the end of the day, I have to help myself first, and I have to love myself enough to know that I need boundaries. And so, learning how to debrief, learning not to take my work home with me, and learning how to be present while I'm at home are things that have helped me along the way. So, yeah, um, I'm really just appreciative of being able to have the to be able to balance. You know what I mean? Some people are looking for work. Some people are only at home, only have a family to deal with, which can be a lot because having children is a full time job, more like five full time jobs. Okay, you know, having a spouse, one or the other, either way, it's a lot of work. No matter what you do, it's going to be work, right? But having that balance is all about what we choose to do with our time, what we choose to do with our energy, how we set the environment, how we set the tone. And so for me, different things that I do, you know, I make time for myself. For one, I have to, because I can't be good for nobody else if I'm no good for myself. So I make time for me. I make time for my little family, my little fur baby. Um, I make time for my work, and I make time to kind of reset myself. So I might take a day where I'm just don't talk about work, nothing. This is my reset day. Um, Now it's not every week. It might be once a month, twice a month. You know, I try to do like one weekend a month where I kind of just unload, change my scenery, go somewhere different, and really just unpack how I'm feeling and just not take work with me. Just really just be present in the moment, enjoy myself, love me in that moment, and figure out how I can be better where I am and learn how to just be more balanced with where I'm at. You know, also a part of family is not just my little family, but also my siblings, my parents, my immediate family, my friends, people that's in my immediate circle. I have to make time for them too. So reaching out to them, making sure they're good, spending time with them when I'm able to, you know, talking to them on the phone if they need a lending ear, you know, all these things contribute. So it's not just what I got going on in my home. I also have family members outside the home that I check on daily because I want them to know that they are appreciated, that they are loved, that I'm thinking of them. I feel like personally, when you care about someone and when you love someone, you're going to take time out to reach out to them to see how they're doing. You know, it doesn't have to be an everyday thing. It could be a once a week, a couple days out the week, a couple times a month. But to go day after day, month after month, year after year without speaking to people that you claim you care about and love, you might want to reevaluate what you mean by loving and caring for somebody. Because if you really say that they're on your mind and things of that nature, you'll make some time for that. Now, I'm not saying things don't happen, things don't come up. Your day might be busy. You might think about them, and then you might forget to send a text or a call or an audio message or whatever. But to continue to let that happen over and over again, it shows where your priorities are. So it's really all about managing priorities when it comes to having that balance and the choices that I make when it comes to work. If I feel like I'm overwhelmed, I would choose to speak up. If I feel like I'm around family for too long and I need a break, I will say something or I will remove myself. If I feel like I need to be around family, I'll put myself in that arena to do that. If I need time for me, I will make it happen so that I am not affecting anybody in a negative way, because I don't want what I'm going through, if I'm going through something, to affect someone else that's around me. Environment is so important, peace is important, and I look forward to having peaceful days, to having a peaceful mind and a peaceful life, and anything that disrupts that got to go. There's some certain things that you can't get away from, but at the end of the day, you choose your peace, okay? And I choose my peace over anything. So, whether that means leaving a situation, leaving an employment, leaving a place, I'm going to do that to protect my peace because that's what matters. Because it's no point in me having all of these things and I'm not sane. I need to be sane in order to maintain the things that I have. And so when it comes to work, work is work. Work is work. I love what I do though. I do love what I do, and I'm grateful to be able to help the amount of people that I help. If I'm able to do more, I always end up doing more, going past, the clock in and clock out times to help. But I've created boundaries for myself so that I'm not overdoing what I'm overdoing, if that makes sense. I'm just making time for family and just picking and choosing what I want to do and how I want to do it. When it comes to business, carving time out. I might not have a full day to do what I need to do for my business. I might have a couple hours today. Okay, cool. I'm going to spend them a couple hours doing what I got to do. If I need to research something, if I need to apply for something, if I need to create something, edit something, schedule something, whatever that might be, I'm going to carve out time for that because it's only going to grow as much as I nourish it. All right. And so if I'm not nourishing it, I can't expect it to grow. So, yeah. So I'm just, in the process of really balancing out. Now, one thing I do need to work on that I'm getting better at is making more time for Intellecx because my work um, does take up a lot of my time. It takes away time from my purpose work. And so I'm learning to kind of balance that out. I do believe all of it is a part of my purpose, but Intellecx was given to me at a very, very young age as a teenager. And so I know there's something that I'm supposed to be doing. And I don't want anything to come in between what I got going on when it comes to Intellecx because at the end of the day, that is my $1 million business. And that's what I need to nurture and nourish at all times. So just learning how to balance, having an organizer, scheduling, expressing myself when I need a minute, you know, um, reaching out to the ones I love, making time not just for myself, but for others, making time for my work, making time for my business, my purpose work, and really just culminating all that together so that I'm not overwhelming myself, just taking the time that I need so that I can be mentally uh, sparked up and capable of handling all the responsibilities that I have. And like I said, it's just me. So the balance is not that bad. But, with more responsibilities, when they come, the balance is going to have to be worked on a little bit more, right? So I have my little fur baby, my fur mom, but she's very low maintenance. She doesn't need a lot of time and attention. She doesn't need to be coddled. She doesn't need to be fed. She knows how to feed herself. She knows how to play with herself, with her toys. She knows how to entertain herself and to where if I'm not around, she's okay. You know what I mean? But a baby and a kitten are two different dynamics, okay? Definitely more demanding if I have a child, But like I said, once I get married and have children, we're going to have another conversation. But for right now, my work life balance is not that bad, and I am just, enjoying the moment and when my next milestone comes and life dynamics change, we're gonna revisit this and see how I balanced in. All right, but that's pretty much it. The choices I make when it comes to who I spend my time with, how I spend my time. Nourishing, cultivating myself, cultivating those that surround me, and making time for my work, my purpose work, and my business. And just living life, loving it, and doing what I gotta do. All right, so that's all I have. I hope you enjoyed it. You know, peeking into my life a little bit and just seeing what I got going on right now. So yeah, so work, business, doing purpose work, having my fur baby, spending time with me, and just waiting until that time comes when I'm going to settle down and have family and see where life takes me. But until then, y'all got me. All right. So thank you. I love you all. Appreciate you for tuning in. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and have a great week. Till next time. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Okay, so keep it real. What did you think? And be honest, y'all, because I really want to know what y'all think. Honest feedback definitely matters, okay? Share your thoughts about it on the Q&A that's attached to the episode on Anchor or Spotify or Apple, all the amazing platforms. If you're on YouTube, make sure to drop a comment. If you want to share a little bit more, but you don't want to do it on those platforms, make sure to email us so that we can share your thoughts on the show. I want you to remember to love yourself.
Trying to level balance out, I meditate all the time. Learn my lesson, turn my blessings into one of a kind. I'm gonna stand up face to face, ain't anything in my way. Mama told me never let my feelings get in the way. I'm waking up like how the hell can I get better today? I gave myself that confirmation, boy, you already great.
Be true to yourself. And when life starts lifing, life back. But don't forget to life with Lex. Until next time.